Stop for a moment and answer the question, what do you hear right now? You probably hear the swishing of the overhead fan, the humming of your computer, and a host of other sounds that you were not aware of a minute ago. The truth is that by asking you what you're hearing, I prompted your brain to take control of the sensory experience, and you move from hearing to listening. This is what happens when sounds move out of the background noises and you become consciously aware of it. The difference between sense of hearing and the skill of listening is paying attention. Welcome to Ruth's Straight Talk, the channel designed to help you, your students, and your children live fuller lives, become lifelong learners, and grow into the awesome human beings you were designed to be. I'm Cynthia Ruth. In this video, we will discuss several ways to actively listen rather than just hearing someone speaking to you. Studies have shown that conscious thought takes place at about the same rate as visual recognition, requiring a significant fraction of a second per event. But hearing is vastly faster in its entirety. While it may take a full second to notice something out of the corner of your eye, turn your head towards it, recognize it, and respond to it, the same reaction to a new and sudden sound occurs at least 10 times faster. So what does it mean to pay attention? When you actually pay attention to something you're listening to, whether it's your favorite song or the cat meowing at dinner time, the signal in your brains are carried through the brain, which lets you actively focus on what you're hearing and tunes out sights and sounds that aren't immediately important. So your brain works like a set of noise-suppressing headphones, acting as a switch to interrupt if something more urgent grabs your attention. The truth is, hearing is easy, but listening is hard because thousands of distractions are jumping into your ears every second. Listening is a skill that we could lose in a world of distractions and in information overload. But we dare not lose it because listening tunes out our brain to the patterns of the environment faster than any other sense, even our visual sense. Fortunately, we can train our listening just as with any other skill. We can train ourselves to listen to new music when jogging rather than the familiar tunes. Listen to your dog whines or barks as he is trying to tell you something is not right. Listen to your loved one's voice, not only the words, which after a few years may repeat, but to the sounds under them, the emotions carried in the harmonics. You may save yourself a couple of fights with your loved ones. How many times has someone said to you, "You never listen"? It's not just a complaint of a problematic relationship. It also becomes an epidemic in a world where exchanging convenience for content, speed for meaning. Do not despair, however. This video will discuss several ways to learn the skills of active listening. When there is a need for serious conversation, such as a grievance or just something important that needs to be said, find a quiet place where you can have a conversation with someone without interruption or distraction. Then ask the person to share what's on their minds. As they do so, try to follow the steps below. You don't need to do every step, but the more steps you incorporate, the more effectively your active listening will become. Number 1, as the person is finished expressing their thought, try to paraphrase what they said to make sure you understand and to show that you were paying attention. You could begin paraphrasing with something like, "What I hear you saying is," and then finish the sentence, or "It sounds like you're saying," or "If I understand you correctly." Any one of those would preface a paraphrase to make sure that person understands that you were attentively listening. Number 2, ask questions. When appropriate, ask questions to help the speaker elaborate on what they are thinking or feeling. Don't jump to conclusions, but rather ask questions to clarify their meanings. Such questions could sound like, "When you said such and such and such, do you really mean that?" And you finish the question. Number 3, express empathy. Empathize with the speaker even when they are struggling with some issue. For example, if the speaker expresses frustration, do not judge them regardless of whether you think that feeling is justified or not. "I can sense that you're feeling frustrated," you may say, and even, "I can understand how this situation could cause you frustration." Number 4, use engaged body language. Make eye contact with the person. Nod, facing the other person and maintaining an open and relaxed body posture. This will tell the other person that you are actively listening. Try to avoid attending to distractions in your environment or checking your phone. Be mindful of your facial expressions. Avoid expressions that might communicate disapproval or disgust. Number 5, avoid judgment. Do not judge that person. Your goal is to understand their perspective and accept it for what it is, even if you disagree with it. Try not to interrupt with counter-arguments or mentally prepare a rebuttal while the other person is speaking. Number 6, avoid giving advice. Problem solving is likely to be more effective after both conversation partners understand one another's perspective and feel heard. Many times a person just needs to be heard. They don't need a judgment or advice. So offer advice only if it's asked for. The bonus strategy: take turns expressing your thoughts. It is important for both persons to be heard, so take turns expressing what you are thinking. After the other person has had a chance to speak, you have engaged in active listening steps above, ask if it's okay for you to share your perspective. When sharing your perspective, express yourself as clearly as possible using I statements. For example, "I feel overwhelmed when you don't help out around the house." It may also be helpful, when relevant, to express empathy for the other person's perspective. For example, "I know you've been busy lately and don't mean to leave me hanging." So there you have it, several ways to practice active listening. As you get better at these steps, you will find that conversation will take on a new level of enjoyment where all persons will feel validated. If this video has helped you, please leave me a comment at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you have a story, a tip, a strategy, a question, or just some advice that you would like me to share with my audiences, please also leave me a comment at the bottom of the screen. Click on these videos above for more awesome information on education and parenting. Once again, thank you for visiting with us at ruthstraighttalk.com. It has been a pleasure. So until next time, happy learning and goodbye.